Hey everyone, it's Mike from Get Your Rock Out, and I'm here outside Rebellion Bar in Manchester with Kaine. How you guys doing?
Doing alright. Awesome.
Yeah, very good.
Yep.
Sweet. So you're supporting Monument throughout the entire tour here.
Yes.
How's it?
Yeah,
how do you feel about it? How do you feel about tonight, first night of the tour?
We pretty much we're on the same record label as Monument. Peter, the singer, is our manager, so we're well connected to them. So yeah, they're similar sounds, similar bands, so we're looking forward to playing with them.
That's good reason, is Eddie? Yeah. I believe you're playing with both bands tonight?
Yeah, I'm playing bass. Yeah, Christelle couldn't do the tour. I'm not allowed to say too much, I don't think. But yeah.
Please leave that in.
You guys are kind of interested in researching you. You've done your one album, and then you did another one, a live album from a castle. Tell us about that experience.
It's not an actual castle for the start. It's the oldest inn in England. It's in the Doomsday Book. It's that old. It's called St Anne's Castle, or Satan's Castle as we called it, and it's literally just a pub. But we mic'd up and recorded it, and it's a live album. You know, some people have said, well, that doesn't sound very polished, but it wasn't meant to. It was meant to sound like a proper raw, straight up
band in a pub.
Band in a pub. Yeah, real band in a pub.
How very black metal of you.
Yeah.
It wasn't done in a dungeons with like one microphone, so
Yeah, they have access to dungeons. Yet.
But you know, I mean, you could tour with like Moore's Night, I suppose, if you're used to playing castles.
That would be exciting.
I would love to meet Richie Blackmore, just because how abstract he is as an individual. I think.
Yes.
I don't think we get on, but I think it'd be quite interesting to have a conversation with him.
One day with Richie Blackmore, I think that would be interesting.
Please, anyone.
Let's talk about you guys, your sound then, because it's similar to Monument in that it's kind of harking back to the old school, but with like a modern edge on it, and it seems to be very popular. People seem to think that the true crux of British metal is to be deeply rooted in the old school. So what I want to know is, what is it about the old school that needs to be tuned up for the modern day audience, and what are the old aspects of metal that need to stay vibrant, need to stay alive as we move forward into the 21st century?
Well, the production, that's the main thing in modern music. If people want to take what we do seriously, a lot of the time they want to hear it sound as good as what they like to listen to already. So like you can try to kind of get those people who like the metalcore or that kind of thing with a good production. They'll think, oh wow, that's really loud, I really like that in my ears. And the things you want to keep the choruses, melodic vocals, a bit of attitude as well, some actual attitude in the songwriting.
You know, the stuff we're sort of influenced by is obviously Black Sabbath, Iron Maiden, Saxon, Judas Priest, and you know, so many different New Orleans bands, and also some of the American bands like, you know, the obvious ones like Metallica, Megadeth, and Anthrax, and that came afterwards. So we've got a bit of that sort of aggression in there as well. We play a lot faster than a few of our sort of colleagues in this genre. So.
It's just kind of interesting, like when you listen to something that's considered like a newish kind of metal sound, you're like a gent band or something like that. Do you think to yourself that is completely against, you know, what metal should be, or is it like just against your sensibilities? I mean, what do you think of the way other styles of metal try to take things forward and progress?
For me, that's not the same as what we do. You know, we're not the same thing. I mean, if people like that, that's fair enough, but that's not what we enjoy. We enjoy old school heavy metal, so that's what we play. It's not the same thing. It just isn't. You can't compare a gent band to a British metal revival band, as it were, and their audiences are completely different people. I think the same with like death metal and everything else. Metalcore is mainly for younger people. So.
No, it's just always kind of curious to me. I mean, it kind of seems like a little bit of a nostalgia factor, but yet it really isn't, because while you can see where you guys and bands like Monument are kind of rooted in the classic sound, there's enough like modern elements in there to distinguish it. Yeah. It's kind of an interesting hybrid in a way.
Yeah, I think so. And like bands like White Wizard, which Peter obviously and Lewis were in beforehand, they've been doing that.
We just had a very long and epic discussion about White Wizard and their different problems.
Yeah, the changes they've had. Yeah, creative
problems.
Differences as they call it. But no, they've sort of helped pave a path, and there's bands that have sort of splintered off from that, like Monument is one of them. And you know, we're doing. It's similar, but we're different. So I think we're a bit more angrier. That's my fault more than anybody else's.
So, yeah.
And we've influenced by, because Dan listens to a lot of progressive metal.
Yeah, I like stuff like Fate's Warning, Dream Theater, that kind of thing. I like kind of inject that into our songwriting. It's not like I kind of present it in a kind of a way that you can still kind of groove along to it, but it's still using odd time signatures, that kind of thing. But not like you can't really notice if you don't know. If you see what I mean?
And down our way, there's a band called Osmium Guillotine, that another sort of British metal revival band. They're on MGR as well, and they're pretty hard hitting, and theirs just straight up, no frills. We're going to hit the guitars as hard as possible. We're going to have cool riffs, cool vocals, solid drumming, good bass. So that's pretty much what we're about as well.
Yeah.
And do you feel that your sound as a band is like at its peak now? You know, you've played as a free piece before, you've kind of been finding your sound throughout the first couple of albums. Is this now the pinnacle sound, or do you think there's maybe something else that you can add to it?
That's probably only the start.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can just carry on, it can only get better. Yeah, the more we jam, you know.
I mean, like when some of the songs for the new album that's coming out in August were written, it was before I was in the band, before the new drummer Chris was in the band. So now that we're all sort of in a band together, we can literally start the entire next album from scratch and really get everything that we want in there. Like Chris can sort of do all his drum stuff. Like he's a really great drummer. Like brought a whole new sound to us ever since we've had him, and he's basically changed our entire sound for the better. Like we all think. Yeah. But
We're a lot tighter before. The last drummer was a great drummer, but what we're doing now works. It really does. I'm so happy with the band right now. I want this lineup to stay forever. We can keep this together for another 20 years, 30 years, I'll be a happy man.
If not, then there's a reunion tour in the works.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. But no, the three-piece stuff was, that seems like decades ago, but it was probably, 5 years ago now we were doing that. And yeah, we've come on, it's a different band now, it really is. It's, what it is now is what hopefully it will be, and plus, it'll only improve.
Well, tell us about this new album then. You mentioned it was coming out in August. So that's on MGR Records, yeah?
yeah.
It's the Waystone. It's got sort of Celtic theme to the album, as not a whole, but one of the songs is a sort of 12-length epic with two very long bass parts and
keyboards, synths, bits of violins.
So you've got some of that, and you've got a more thrashier song that Anthony wrote. Yeah, it's not. Well, it's fast.
It's heavy. Yeah, heaviest on the album. That one. That's one of the heaviest ones. Yeah.
And we put this album together in about a year. The songs.
Some of the songs are 2 or 3 years old. Yeah.
But we jammed them out with obviously Anthony and Chris in the band. We refined them. We got them to a point where we're like, right, we're ready to record this. And we literally recorded the album, 4 days? 4 days. We banged out the album, and that's the quickest we've ever operated. Our last album, we had problems with previous guitar players and whatever else, and it took 6 months, 7 months, and
longer.
It was a disaster. It sounds good for considering what was going on at the time. It should sound a lot worse than it did, but we
did a good job on that one, saving it.
Yeah, and there was a lot of battles within the band that were not fun, but that's over now. So the new album had none of that. Straight in, recorded it, no nonsense. We've done it with a producer called Akis, who was brilliant. He
did the Monuments Renegades album.
Yeah, and he worked with bands like Damn Dice and things. So he's done quite a bit, and he pushed us to the next degree. He really did. In terms, particularly my vocals, I did pretty much all the vocals in one day, and he made me redo things so they sounded so good. But obviously I was this body in a bit. So
same for the guitars. My fingers were practically bleeding for days afterwards. The amount of times I had to play the same solo over and over and over. It's like, but we're really happy with the end result. Like, I reckon if I'd let myself leave a previous take in there, I probably would have thought back to it later and gone, I wish he told me to do another one. I don't like that. But the guy really knows his stuff. Like, he really gets the best out of you. Like, even if it kills you, like, he will do it. You'll be dead on the floor and he'll say, do another take. So
yes, definitely. It was pretty much like I'd worked a shift and then had to go down and record the bass, so it was like a good 8-hour shift at work and a 100-mile drive down to London, and then 9 hours of bass, but it all went really well, and he mixed it really well as well. Mixed and mastered it.
The album overall has so many good songs in it. I mean, there's not one I don't like. It all sounds brilliant, and there's a great variety of songs. As I said, there's got some thrashy, we've got some Nawabami stuff, we've got some sort of proggy elements, some stuff that's more influenced by bands like Praying Mantis, that, a lot of new bands probably don't get influenced by them, but we listen to them. And I think it's great. I really do.
Yeah. And you guys got plans for maybe a headline tour when it comes out?
We'd love to do it, but it'd be cost.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're going to have to wrap this up. I believe you're due on stage very shortly. Do you have a message into the camera for all our readers that GetYourRockOut?
Well, keep supporting real metal. There you go.
Kaine, thank you guys very much. Have a good show today.
Cheers.
Cheers.